Hello everyone and welcome to my 48th review. Today I'll be reviewing Forever Is a Mighty Long Time by Big K.R.I.T. I've never heard Big K.R.I.T's solo discography before listening to this album, but I've heard some features like Pleasure Toy by Bilal and One Train by A$AP Rocky. It made us sound so good, and from that alone showed me how talented he was. Even though I was excited to listen to this album, I was definitely scared of it being a double album with 22 songs and almost an hour and a half long. Even though I've never heard his solo work, I saw he released a ton of songs, so it'd be interesting to see how interesting he can make the songs. But after hearing it, I can definitely say he didn't disappoint, like all the way through the album, with this entire album being phenomenal. But let's get into this. Big K.R.I.T is the intro to the album, disc 1 starting off very calming but also suspenseful with these muffled and spacey chords and vocals with these calm bells, with K.R.I.T doing a somewhat spoken word seeming to reflect on where he is now. It gives off a great introspective look to him, but then all of a sudden these big crash cymbals and more rising vocals coming in to bring an even more angelic and suspenseful mood to it, but then coming in very aggressively alongside these heavy trap drums and bass. Incredible rapping from K.R.I.T to give it a much more braggy mood to it, really show his accomplishments and prove his worth, where greatness is one of the best artists, and he does incredible. This is an incredible way to start off the album. Confetti is another song that starts off very calm and menacing too, but then to grow more heavy over time like Big K.R.I.T. While I do place this song and other songs in general low, just know I think every song is incredible, but it's just me ranking them based on what I go back to most really. But starting with this very western sound to it, I guess, with this menacing start, with the guitar and drums and this vocal chop, that I like, but I think can ruin the instrumental at some points. Seeming to show off more braggy vibes showing a lot, and also seeming to talk about not appreciating this new era of music it seems. But I love the even more menacing grand piano chords and aggressive electric guitar that comes in, with then it calming down to a beat switch I guess with more calm bells I think, like the last song to come in with heavy again, with aggressive rapping and heavy bass with more trap style drums. This part makes the song one of the big reasons I go back to this song, but I still love the first part. And I immensely love this song in general, but I still prefer other songs over this, but this is still one of my favorites. Big Bank is another heavy and braggy song with Big K.R.I.T and T.I. seeming to show more of their wealthy sides. This vocal and string loop with these heavy trap drums make the mood very well, sounding like something out of a chase scene from a movie I guess. Sorry I don't watch much movies, but that's the vibe this song gives me. K.R.I.T comes in with one of his most aggressive and best verses on this album and also one of the best hooks from him on this entire album. Now I'm not going to take my feelings about T.I. after allegations into account, but I think he does really well fitting the mood very well. And I also appreciate him going more into talking about using his money it seems to take care of for his kids and family and not disappoint. Also not use his money for pointless wants all the time, with him ending his verse by saying pray to God I could stay rich and stay humble. And as far as I'm aware, there's not enough evidence toward the allegations, but I still do want to take that kind of subject seriously. So I don't know whether or not to like him as a person. But overall, this is a great song all around with an incredible instrumental and great performances from Big K.R.I.T and T.I. Subenstein, my sub 4, is another aggressive song that doesn't get tiring whatsoever in my opinion. It is different from other work on the album, making it one of my favorites. With another aggressive instrumental and performance from K.R.I.T make it so good, and I love him I guess framing himself as this Frankenstein's monster, with a big connection to bass it seems, but then with it calming down to then come in all of a sudden with basically a different song with these kind of angelic chorus with him singing really well personally, and around the same topic basically but with a much more calm vibe to it, with these soft keys and vocals but heavy bass and electric guitar playing so well. And with this and the other part being both incredible, this is definitely a top 3. 1999 is then a much different sound with a more calm and funky sound to it, with this warpy and bassy synth and groovy drums, with Lloyd fitting the sound perfectly personally with doing great on the chorus with great singing, and while not as good, but a great verse. Then K.R.I.T bringing a much more calm mood to it with his calm and deep voice. He also brings great verses, but I probably could have done without 2 verses from him and just 1. But they're still both great. This is definitely a great song and one of my favorites, but definitely not as good as other songs. That doesn't mean I hate it though, it's still one of my favorites. Ride With Me is another incredible song, with it being, I think, being a tribute to Pimp C, with it also having Bun B on the song, who was the other member of UGK, then sampling Pimp C on the chorus. with Bun B starting off to bring the great aggression that I love, but would have loved more. The Pimp C sample on the chorus is then much more soothing and calm, to then to come back with Big K.R.I.T having one of his best performances. This is another solid song all the way through. While I don't hate it whatsoever, it's not as good compared to other songs. Get Up to Come Down is another great song with its southern influences to its sound with the instrumental and also featuring CeeLo Green and Sleepy Brown, with a soothing chorus from K.R.I.T and Sleepy Brown, with great singing together, and K.R.I.T brings some of my favorite verses, especially the second verse. CeeLo's verse is then aggressive and groovy with him fading the instrumental well, with his very witty or funny verse, but still incredible. This is definitely one of my favorite songs in the top 3 for me. Layup is another big change from everything with maybe the most calming and laid back song, with spacey synths, airy keys, and angelic sounding electric guitar alongside slow drums, but then K.R.I.T saying more on this song, which I love and think his voice is great on this, with him more so rapping on the verses. This is again one of my favorites and isn't bad at all, but not as good as other songs, so it's in the mid but still incredible. The classic Interlude is just a short and funny skit with two people debating on whether this album is a classic. It's definitely funny and not bad, but it's just a skit and not as good as actual songs. Aux Cord is another incredible song seeming to talk about his influences or what kind of music he likes or grew up with great drums, warpy synths, and more great electric guitar. K.R.I.T seems more mellow on the song and I think fits well with him, still sounding like he has his passion to him. Around the end with it getting more grand with the instrumental and incredible female vocals sounds so good and such a great way to end off this song. This is definitely one of the best songs on the album. Getaway is another great song seeming to be around just wanting to get away from bad situations, and I think he does well with this very triumphant or prideful feeling to it. But while I love this song, I do think this is one of the weaker songs, mostly because of it being stretched to longer than it needs to be. With a great instrumental with this very soul vocal sample being very calm, but then coming extremely heavy with these hard-hitting drums and bass and aggressive vocals from K.R.I.T. While I still love this song, it could maybe be shorter with the outro, but the outro still sounds great with it very calm with these great female vocals coming in. This is a very good song, but too stretched out, but still a great way to end the Big K.R.I.T side of the album. Justin Scott is the intro to the Justin Scott side to the album, and starts off this side completely different from anything on the Big K.R.I.T side. This very angelic or suspenseful jazz and orchestral ensemble is very powerful and emotion-inducing, with it just mostly being instrumental but so powerful, with these enchanting synths and guitar with this very grand piano and strings, with incredible grand vocals to bring much more power to it. Then it ended off with a lot of people telling K.R.I.T other things. It seems telling me he needs to do this, and others telling him other things, which fits well transitioning to the next song. Mixed Messages is then a much more introspective song than anything we've gotten so far, with an instrumental that's more so like something you hear on the Big K.R.I.T side with this constant looping sample and trap style drums. But lyric-wise, it's much more deep from anything with him, and also going to sing more, bringing one of my favorite hooks into the entire album. With the topic of mixed messages and different emotions towards one topic, I think he does great. It is definitely a big highlight and one of my favorites, but there's other songs I prefer. Keep the Devil Off is another big change, bringing a very big gospel sound to it, which I love and think he does great, bringing such an aggressive feel to it, but still very cheerful. Also bringing one of the best hooks on the album and fitting so well with one of the best instrumentals. I do think it can go on pretty long with the outro mostly being an instrumental in the chorus, but the chorus and instrumental is incredible, and he also changes it up throughout. It is a great song all around in the top 5 for me. Miss Georgia Fornia changes it up again from anything we've heard with just a full-on out country and rap song with heartfelt performances from Big K.R.I.T alongside Joy, bringing elegant and powerful vocals, with groovy guitar and keys adding to bring a very saddening mood surprisingly, and K.R.I.T seems more mellow on this song, talking about seeming abandoning where he's from to move to Los Angeles, and seeming to apologize for leaving, but with that coming more opportunities and helping his career it seems. Joy brings lush vocals here and there too, with around the end starting to get more powerful and heartbroken, then ending off with a beautiful outro with incredible strings from Bacon, and more strong vocals from Joy to end up beautifully and making it my favorite song. Everlasting is a great song, one of the more wittier, happy songs on the Justin Scott side, but it's probably the weakest song on this entire album, but still a great song. With a more laid back, similar to Aux Cord, with a funky instrumental and create more laid back, talking to a girl it seems. This is definitely a great song and I love the vibe this song gives, but it's definitely the weakest song. Higher Calling brings another great uplifting song to it, talking about having someone else seeming like a lover to help them it seems. This is a beautiful sounding song with K.R.I.T giving great verses and storytelling, then beautiful angelic vocals on the chorus from Jill Scott. Alongside enchanting guitar and punchy drums fit so well with this incredibly beautiful vocals. This is again an incredible song, but just not a personal favorite compared to other songs. The Weekend Interlude is another funny and short skit sounding like an ad you hear on the radio advertising some club. It's definitely funny and I love how accurate they got the sound, but I still prefer the actual song over this and prefer the classic interlude over this one. Price of Fame is another very introspective song talking about his fame and the sacrifices he had to make with it, and how it affects his mental health, talking about his depression and leading to drinking and taking pills. Alongside a soothing instrumental with moody and soft piano, vocals and guitar with a groovy bass line, then K.R.I.T also giving a heartfelt performance with incredible writing, but the chorus, while emotional, is pretty boring, but that could also be the point. And also this is definitely one of the saddest songs, but it's not a song I go back to a lot. I'd probably rather listen to Miss Georgia Fornia or Drinking Sessions, but still one of the best songs, but not a song I go back to a lot personally. And I honestly don't know why I don't go back to this song because it's incredible. I just haven't spent much time with this song. Drinking Sessions is definitely the saddest song and one that's hard to go through considering how honest and saddening K.R.I.T is on this song. But incredible work alongside Keyon Harrold that made me excited because I'm a big fan of his, so I knew there would be a great drum hit on this song. The way it does sounds more angry somewhat, with calm but just kind of depressing sounding keys alongside somewhat hard hitting drums. Then K.R.I.T is bringing maybe his best performance with him just being completely honest and saddening. Sounding like he's on the verge of tears. This is an incredible song all the way through. I do prefer other songs over this, but this is an incredible song and one of the biggest highlights. The Lights and a much more uplifting song it seems, but just a full-blown jazz ensemble similar to Justin Scott. I was especially excited for this song considering it had Bilal on vocals and Robert Glasper on piano, so I knew it would sound incredible. But also brings Kenneth Whalum on saxophone and Burniss Travis II on bass, which I didn't know, but they had so much to make it incredible. And while it is very uplifting sounding, it is pretty deeper emotional, seeming to touch on race in America, with Bilal even referencing the poem Somewhere in America in the chorus. And that adds much more importance to the song, and it also sounds great with all the musicians, making the instrumental incredible and Bilal adding soothing vocals, with it then getting more powerful near the end. This is definitely one of the best songs on the album. Bury Me in Gold is the outro to the Justin Scott side in the album altogether. This is just a beautiful song altogether, talking about not really Gold specifically, but all the achievements per se he's made over his life. But also touching on actual Gold, saying that when you die it won't mean anything to you, so he's willing to give it all away to his maker to get to heaven. This is a beautiful song with the powerful instrumental and great vocals from K.R.I.T, incredible verses in the choir it seems with K.R.I.T, having incredible singing on the powerful chorus. Then that ended off beautifully with spoken words from K.R.I.T talking about what he means by gold. This is an incredible song being a top 5 for me definitely, and a beautiful way to end off the entire album. And all I really have to say left is, for 22 songs he was able to make every single song skit incredible. It can get pretty long at some points, but it's still enjoyable all the way through. 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching.